and welcome to this week's edition of WCS Sports Connection. I'm your co-host, Jimmy Qualls, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Tate Mathews, who has been on assignment out of country. But welcome back. It's a new year, and we're into a new sports season, Tate. We're into basketball. It's that time of the year that I love, the winter months. You go into the warm basketball, you smell the varnish, you hear the squeaking in the shoes, and, man, there's nothing like it except when you win 2 state football championships. So it's a little bit right now, we're having to make this transition over into the basketball realm, but you know what? We're carrying a lot of momentum with us.
Yeah, you are, and it's kind of like when you had Coach Blade and Coach Hester in a few weeks ago, right before Christmas. They talked about success breeds success. There's a lot of things that go into it, but I don't think it's a coincidence that Ravenwood and Independence boys basketball are both playing very, very well. And, with the success they had with their football in the fall, it looks like it's carrying over into the winter too. But you're right, basketball's in full swing, wrestling's in full swing. And just to make sure we didn't forget about it, Mother Nature turned down the temperature a little bit when we got back, and it's cold. This is definitely basketball time.
Don't fail to mention that 2 weeks from now, the bowling district, region, and state championships are coming up. We're looking at carrying that tradition over right now in the bowling. Fall sports alone. Let's talk about fall sports real quick, Tate. There are 5 sanctioned TSSAA sporting events. WCS Sports Conference has won 4 of the 5 and brought home 7 state championships during that time frame.
Hard to believe.
Most successful fall in the history of the WCS Sports Conference. Obviously, boys golf, Brentwood, first time ever, won state championship. Our cross-country teams have the boys at Brentwood as well. The 11th state championship for the girls volleyball team at Brentwood, most ever in TSSAA. And then it goes over into the football where we won 2 with Independence Ravenwood, and not to forget, 2 cheerleading championships. So right now we're sitting on 7 total state championships. We have our performance pay here in the WCS Sports Conference. Last year, we paid out $23,500 in performance pay. This year, we've already exceeded $25,000.
Hard to believe. And we also had a couple of state coaches of the year in their sports, Coach Scott Blade and then Bud Robinson for Brentwood Golf. Barbara Campbell would have won it. The sentimental vote went to another school because a very successful longtime coach was retiring. But we're going to put an asterisk by that one. I'm saying we got 3 state coaches of the year in their respective sports. So you're right, a lot to talk about, and but that's when you hire good people. This is usually what happens, and our principals and central office and y'all have done a good job of doing that. We've got some really, really good coaches in all sports, all across the sports conference right now.
Well, the Williamson County school system itself is founded upon 3 pillars: being nationally recognized in the arts, academics, and athletics. Up until this point, athletically, we've had 1 team periodically show up in the national rankings, which is Brentwood Volleyball. This year, we have obviously Brentwood Volleyball once again making the top 25 in the national rankings. I think they finished at 21st. But looking at our football program, something we have never, ever been able to crack into. Right now, Max Prep's 50 tour is going to be going on. In about 2 weeks, the Max Preps group's going to come down to Independence, give them their award for making the top 50. Not only do they make the top 50, they make their number 30 overall, but they finished the year in the middle division as the number 1 football program in the country.
Pretty big. The more people I talk to since the state championship games, I think the overwhelming consensus is that Independence could have won any of the classifications, including the D2s.
Well, we've said that all along.
We would like to have seen
now, we're biased a little bit, but how fun would it have been to come back and have a little Final Four matchup between Ravenwood and Indy, either playing each other or having a playoff and have those 2 playing NBA, BA, who were the final 2 in that Division II group. Let them play, winner takes all after that. Man, how much fun that would have been. Bragging rights on the line. But anyway, we bring home 2 football state championships, first time ever, 3 state MVPs. We had 3 Mr. Football finalists, first time ever, 2 winners. Put an asterisk by that 3rd one for Nate Johnson, who is since committed to the University of Michigan. It's been a phenomenal year in the fall sports.
Boy, and you see the bowl win they had against Florida. That's just such an honor for him, and what a big get that was. And again, we talked about it. That brings more people down here, and that's just more exposure to all of our athletes. But yeah, you're right. Like we talked about, there's always a silver lining, and you look at what happened with Nate and the Mr. Football. It all worked out. That guy's going to play at, I believe, the winningest football program in college football history. That's really, really neat. So.
They are. I look forward to seeing that. All the kids that we've had come through thus far. Van Jefferson will be off his redshirt year, be into action. You'll have Nate Johnson, Emmanuel Hall at Missouri. You'll have Corey Fantoni, who's one of the top punters, if not the top punter in the country. So we'll be represented well next year.
That's right.
Well, let's talk about basketball. We talked about the winning tradition going over, and we're going to start with Independence boys, Ravenwood boys, both big-time winners over the break, holiday classics, tournaments. Independence wins the Panama City Marlin Classic, as well as racking up 2 wins in the Laverne Classic, which, as you mentioned off there, Blackman and some other big-time programs there. 2 big wins over Grissom, Alabama, Bob Jones, Alabama. For those not knowing who Bob Jones is a perennial powerhouse in basketball in Alabama. In the PCB Marlin Classic, Marshall County, Kentucky, Breckenridge County over in Kentucky as well, and beating Arnold, Florida in the championship game 66-51. Right now, Independence, Greg Glass sitting at 14-1 right now, and there is no looking back for this group.
No, and this is the year he's been looking for. He's been talking about this team or this class for 3 years, and he thought this was the year that they had a chance to be really, really good, and it looks like they are. And you mentioned Bob Jones. I believe they're in a school of an enrollment of over 3,000 too. I mean, they're almost twice the size of Independence. So, and this Marlin Classic, he's been going to this for the past couple of years, and they've struggled down there. So it goes to show, it's not that the tournament got any easier. This team is really, really playing well.
Ravenwood goes to the Hickman County Above the Rim Invitational back in my hometown. Now, let's talk about the Above the Rim Invitational.
Did they name that tournament after you?
They did, because I played Above the Rim my entire career. It's pretty amazing, actually. But if you go back and you talk about this tournament, it is in a small town, but it's such a well-run tournament.
Yes.
It's been there, big-time team, state tournament. Matter of fact, the record holder in points per game in the boys' side was a guy that played at Vanderbilt. Do you know who that is? From Station Camp.
John Jenkins.
John Jenkins held the single-game record until this year. A kid broke it at 43 points.
Who was it?
I wish you wouldn't have asked. I could have told you. But that record was broken this year. Lots of good talent. Ravenwood goes in, gets 3 big wins. Waverly, who very athletic team on the AA level, BGA, and then beats a good Marshall County team 56-51 in the championship. Elon Smallwood was named MVP, and it was very evident every time he touched the floor that it was a difference maker.
Yeah, that's a big win. That's a big tournament win for them, and that's what I like about those kind of tournaments. I think that's why you all as basketball coaches do it, but they're different kind of teams than they see in the district. Waverly now, if you remember, what was this Hank Gathers play? Loyola Marymount. That's the closest thing to a high school version of that you're going to see. They come down and it's run and gun up and down the court, and then BGA, they're well coached. Marshall County, very athletic, so they see some different teams, different type teams, and they're going to see in the regular season, and they got to win against all of them. That's impressive performance for them.
It is, and it can be a double-edged sword when you go into these tournaments. I mean, if you don't have a successful first part of the season, that November to 1st of December time frame going into the tournaments, it can do one of 2 things for you. It can continue pushing you down if you don't win, or it can absolutely flip the season for you. You get a couple wins, get encouraging, get going, players come out of the woodwork, start playing well, have a little bit of momentum there. It's kind of a roll of the dice for these 2 teams. I think that it was definitely on their side. However, on some of our other teams that played that may not fared so well, time will tell. You may have to have a little bit of a time frame coming out of this Christmas break, the holiday break, when you go in and play these games to get your feet back grounded under you. So we'll talk about all the teams right now. The girls, on the girls' side, Ravenwood placed second in the Sevier County Winterfest Shootout, another top-notch tournament. They did well and lost to Farragut in the championship game 48-32. However, they had 4, 5, maybe even 6 girls out with the stomach flu.
Yeah, what they've done, that's one of the – we talked about it last year and then going into this year. What they've done with that program, this is probably the highest it's ever been. They're playing the basketball they've ever played, excuse me. And I think they're still on the climb up. So for them to, there was a time when they didn't even go to tournaments at Ravenwood girls basketball. Now they're going down there and competing to win. Like you said, with 6 girls out, you got to think they would have had a chance to win that. But that's a good one. Knox Webb, Glory Johnson's from there. That's a very, in the D2 bracket. They're traditionally a powerhouse in girls basketball, and Farragut's always been very good in girls basketball. So very, very strong performance by them too.
Well, you're talking about, like you said, you had wins over Knox, Webb, Granger, and CAK. You would like to think that if everybody's healthy that they probably go in there. And Coach Harris is very humble, not saying that she would have, but she said, I would like to have had a shot at that. I've had an opportunity to see the girls play. Let me tell you right now, remember this name, Kiera Downey. We talked a lot about her last year as a freshman. She's a sophomore this year. She's only gotten better as time goes on. Right now, at the rate she's playing, she's a mid-major at worst right now on the Division I level. She'd make an OVC team proud to have her as a point guard. Great moves, great inside presence of being able to shift her body to get the basket. If she gets her outside jump shot, 10 foot, all the way out to the three-pointer down to a consistent shot, she'll have an opportunity to play big-time basketball.
Yeah, and one thing she's brought, which we knew she would, if you remember, if you ever saw Mariska Reed, Harris, she was Reed in high school, and then she played in high school with Carrie Bishop, good one, on the Ezel Harding teams for Coach Joey Spann, man, and they were very nice, very polite, but when they got on the court, they were tough, and she's brought that. You knew any team of hers is going to be tough, and in the right way, and she's brought that to them. You can tell there's a toughness in Ravenwood girls basketball that hasn't been there before.
Well, it's interesting. Coach Harris brings a lot of perspective to the high school basketball realm. Obviously doing some time with Coach Rick Insel at MTSU, playing college basketball herself, being well coached in the high school realm with Coach Spann. I've seen them play. And I would equate her high school basketball experience with Coach Spann about like a Belmont men's program. There's lots of screens being set, a lot of back doors. Have to have a very high basketball IQ to play in that system they played for and shoot the ball well. And it was high-paced going. So she's bringing that thought process to Ravenwood girls basketball, but you have to, because she's a tough coach herself, you have to be able to play hard, you have to be able to play defense and do all the small things and pay attention to details.
Well, and if you're going to win there once we get passed out of this district, that's how you're going to have to play. Brentwood's usually been the only team on the girls' side to advance past that, and the years that they do, they have those kind of teams because we don't have the rosters that the Riverdale, in girls' basketball, that the Riverdales, Blackmans, Wilson Centrals have. But these are the kind of teams that are successful once we get out of our district.
Well, the season's starting to take place, so let's go ahead and do a district rundown. Let's talk about what's happening right now in the district. 11 AAA on the girls' side. You mentioned 3 powerhouse programs, Riverdale, Wilson, Central, Blackman. I would say there's a 4th in the mix right here, one more year at least. And Dixon sitting right now on top of the district behind Lily Carter. What a player she is. Vanderbilt signee. They're sitting at 15-2, 4-0 in the district. Have beaten Centennial 60-49, Franklin Summit and Ravenwood to beat Ravenwood by 19. That doesn't bode well for our group right now, but you never know as time goes on. You get over that shock, the initial playing. Usually that first game when you play them, you know they're good coming in. There may be a mental barrier there, but once you get in and you see and break down the tape and you start going throughout the district play, your girls may figure out, hey, they're not near as good as what we put them at first, and we have a chance to beat them.
Yeah, and I tell you, the first thing that jumps out to me, you look at that Centennial score. You're right, Dixon County very possibly is a state tournament team, could possibly even be the state champion. And Lily Carter, she's going to Vanderbilt. She could have gone anywhere in the country that she wanted to. She's one of the best players in the country. And that goes to show how far Centennial girls basketball has come. That they only lost to Dixon County by 11, but that they scored 49 points against. There were years, right, even last year, and they might not score 49 points in 2 games combined. That program is another one that has come a long, long way. But you're right. They can walk away from that Dixon County game and say, hey, guys, girls, we've seen as good as there is in the state, and we were able to hang with them.
So you jumped the gun on me a little bit. So while we're there, let's go ahead and capitalize on it. Centennial basketball right now sitting at 12-2. 1-2 in the district right now. They're actually sitting 6th, and we'll discuss that as we do the rundown because they've only played 3 district games. But last year, well below 500. Let's talk about the job that Coach Tony Hill's done. Unbelievable, turning this program around. 12-2 for this team right here. If you'd have told me they're going to be 12-2 at this point in time last year, I would have taken that bet all day long.
Yeah, and I think he would have too.
So sitting in second place right now behind Dixon is Ravenwood, 13-4 overall, 3-1 in the district. Good wins over Brentwood, Centennial, and Indy. Sitting in third place right now, Summit, 7-8, 2-1. Here's another feel-good story. Old Sparty. Let's talk about the year of Old Sparty. Football won the first ever home game in the history of Summit High School. Won the first region game, football history. Missed playoffs by one game. You heard it here, folks. Next year. Heard it here first. Book it. Old Sparty in the playoffs. Now it goes over to basketball. First time ever in school history that the Lady Spartans have beaten Brentwood.
And let me tell you something. There were some other schools in this county. It took a lot longer than 4 years to do that. That's a big deal. They've done a great job there, and it's been fun to watch them. And they're not going to do it by scoring 50, 60 points. Okay, they've got the way that they've got to play, and they've bought into what the coach Goodwins are preaching. And you're right, that's another one. And remember, they get better as the year goes on. They did that last year. Lost, 3 times to Franklin, then picked them off in the tournament. And this is a team that, again, they're not going to score 50, 60 points. But as the year goes on, I'm willing to bet Summit continues to get better.
Well, they held Brentwood to 29 points under 30. I'm sure.
That's defense.
I mean, that's good defense. It fits right into their scheme and what they're trying to do. They're not a high-powering offense, like you said. But they also beat Franklin as well, which to me is probably a more of a quality win right now where Franklin is, considering Brentwood lost a lot. Jenny Roy, Jesse Boozer, former Wilco standouts, female athlete of the year at the Wilco's, Jenny Roy, co-MVP of District 11 AAA last year, moving on to Belmont. Coach Sig in that rebuilding mode, if you will. They're sitting in fourth place at 6-8, 1-2. They've been big win for them in the district right now is beating Independence 39-34. But the job that Josh Goodwin, Carrie Goodwin, the combined team effort that they've done, the husband-wife coaching effort at Summit right now is paying off. Josh has been there. He's been building. He's been taking his lumps, building, doing, paying attention to the small things, the details. This year feels like that year. This is the year that they're going to get over the hump. They're not finished yet. I know they're sitting at 7-8. They will be above 500 before this thing's over. And if they could get one of those top 4 spots going to the district tournament, that would be huge.
Big deal.
Franklin sitting right now in 5th place at 8-8, 1-2. They beat Indy as well as a win in the district. Centennial sitting in 6th place, 12-2. I really think that Coach Hill's bunch right there will be a top 4 team in this district. It's early, 1-2 in the district play right now. They did lose to Ravenwood by 9, Dixon by 11. They're knocking on the door. Matter of fact, Centennial could get 2nd place if they can beat Ravenwood and have to have a little help from somebody else against Ravenwood. Anything can happen right there. But if they were to upset Dixon, it automatically get a 2nd place vote right there.
Yeah, and talk about a tournament. That'd have to be the biggest swing in the state, I would think.
And right now, the season's broken into 3 sections. You got your preseason, which is that November section to the Christmas tournament, and then you got your new section, New Year's section, as you call it, right there going in ending the regular season, and then you got your postseason. You have to start thinking, and Coach Hill, okay, we've got to get ourselves mentally prepared that we're above 500, because obviously they're probably going to finish above 500. That's not good enough. We've got to go in and win a district game to get ourselves in region play. And it'd be interesting to see how this unfolds for a team that is probably young and has never experienced that winning side of not just being complacent with above 500, but trying to get a win in a district tournament.
Yeah, and it's something you got to learn. I mean, it's you can talk to them about it. You've been there. You can talk to them about it and talk to them about it. But the bottom line is they got to learn how to do it. And sometimes it's easier said than done. But I think he's got them on the right path. And obviously, whatever he's telling them, they're buying into right now.
Well, right now, Coach White's group at Independence still looking for their first district win, 4-12 overall, 0-4 in the district. They have beaten Overton, and they had a real close loss to Hillsboro. I know there's no such thing as a good loss, but that was a good loss for them. That was a very competitive game, lost by single digits. I know that Coach White, being the competitor that she is, we had her on the coaches show. There's no moral victories for her, but they have to keep on keeping on and working on those small things, and maybe that'll pay off down the road.
Yeah, and you're right. The Overton win's a good win. It's something she's used to doing from her time at Antioch, but no moral victories for her. Nobody's as competitive as her. But the record might not show it, but getting better.
All right, Tate, let's look at the District 12 AA girls. Right now in first place, Giles County, 8-9 right now, 2-0 in the district. CPA, 11-4, 2-0. In third place, Cascade, 1-12, 1-1. Fourth place, Page is sitting at 6-7, 1-2. They have wins over Fairview in the Battle of 840, 43-36. They also have wins over Eagleville and Spring Hill. Spring Hill sitting in fifth place right now. The District 12 AA girls are pretty much wide open. I know that CPA going in has usually been a clear-cut favorite. I think they have come back to the pack a little bit, so to say, on the girls' side, but I still think they're the favorite to win District 12 AA.
You got to think so. 2-0 in the district. I know Giles County's 2-0 in the district. Obviously, they haven't played yet, so I would think they would be the favorite.
Well, right now, Coach Brock, being in his first year of the redo, if you will, he's been here before, having to take the girls once again. You got to think they're sitting at 6-7. Last year, the girls won 2, maybe 3 games. Once again, having to fight that mental battle of girls of getting your players to buy into the system that you're doing. It's a new system to them. Number 2, believing that they can win. And wins do, you know, when you're playing CPA in the past, Giles County, Spring Hill's always going to be athletic, pretty good sized team. I've seen them play. You know, it's not exactly easy, but I think that Page can wrap up at least in the top 3 before this thing's all said and done.
I agree. And, you know, Fairview and Eagleville, those are 2 games that have obviously Fairview is a rivalry, and Eagleville's kind of become a rivalry for them. So those are 2, when you're looking at the first part of the schedule that they really wanted to get, they got them. Those are 2 nice wins.
Real quick, the largest district in AA basketball, 11 AA girls, Creekwood sitting in first. Coach Tom Mullinex always year in, year out gets the job done there. 7-0 currently right now. Lewis County sitting in second at 14-2, 6-2. Stewart County in third at 6-2 in the district. Camden Central in fourth, 5-3 in the district. East Hickman sitting in fifth at 5-3 in the district. Waverly sitting at 2-5 in the district, 6th place. Fairview right now is 2-6 as well, with wins over Hickman County, Montgomery Central, and in 8th place, Montgomery Central at 2-6, and Hickman County rounding out in 9th place at 0-8. Anything stand out to you?
Fairview will not finish in 9th place, I can assure you.
Not only can I assure you, I can promise you, if there was a line in Vegas on this number, you would take that right now.
Free money.
I'm not going to expound on that any further, but you are correct. I truly believe that Fairview can finish not in 9th place. Matter of fact, I'm not so sure that they won't finish maybe above 6th, 5th place. He had one of his younger girls. It was injured early on in the season. She should be back to full swing. She's going to help them. Fairview Middle School girls, fairly successful middle school program that we have here in WCS, and I look to see Coach McGowan there growing on that. Moving over to the boys' side right now, let's talk about the Big Six. Let's talk about 11 AAA boys action right now. No surprise, we talked about them earlier. Independence 14-1, 3-0, big wins over Brentwood, Centennial, and Franklin right now sitting in first.
Yeah, they're fun to watch. You talked about it all last year. The shift in power, I think is how you coined it, was going to head south this year with Independence and Summit, and, man, they're both playing great. But you're right, Independence 14-1, big wins over Brentwood, Centennial, and Franklin. And the one that stands out to me is the Brentwood win. I'm not sure what the score was on that one, but it was like they held them under 40 points, I believe. And so they're winning games that are not the style of basketball they want to play. They're high power, they're up tempo, they're scoring a lot of points. That was a game they had to grind out, be smart, and just play the whole time and tough it out. You know, Brentwood took them out of a lot of what they were doing, but those are the kind of games that you can tell that this team's gotten tougher. You can tell this team's gotten more mature. That was a good win for them because, again, that wasn't their best basketball, and they still find a way to grind it out. That one really stands out to me.
Well, you'll see right here one of the weaknesses that they've had that I've seen them play is possibly when a team plays them zone. They do not want to slow it down. The half-court offense of Independence is one that is predominantly started on a secondary break, off of steals, off of a press and action. And when a team presses them or plays them man, they can't stop them. If you want to slow them down,
kind of like their football team.
That's right. If you want, I mean, there's a whole lot of comparisons. If you want to slow them down, you have to play that zone. As you'll see in this clip right here of the Murphy boys getting in the passing lanes, Malcolm Walker as well. Malcolm getting his hand on it and opening it up and turning the game around against Brentwood. But you'll see the passing action against a zone defense, which is hard to stop.
Here comes a little half-court 2-3. Inside to Pierre Watkins, down low to Malcolm Walker, and that one's off the glass for 2. So Walker with his 7 points of the night. Here comes Brentwood back up, and that one's stolen away again by Walker. Looking to drive, he's got a lane, all the way for 2 and the harm. So Walker picks up the layup, and he is fouled on the play. Headed to the line for the and 1. The big 6'3" junior.
Okay, Tate, as you can see right there, Brentwood pressed. If they'd stayed back in the zone, probably wouldn't have had the result that they have. They pressed. The 2 top guys come out to try to trap. We're going to try to trap the Murphy boys. It's not very smart. Let's take note of that. Boom, we take a pass. No, the ball never hits the floor. 4 passes, boom, bucket. And then the next play down, they come out, they play good defense. Once they got the steal, as you can see, their post, Malcolm Walker dribbles the length of the court, gets the and 1. Now, I'm telling you, that is the style they want to play.
Right.
I watched them play Ravenwood. Ravenwood was down 8 points. They're playing zone, keeping themselves in the game. They come out at halftime, go man, have a little press in action. Next thing you know, they're up 30. You cannot press this bunch. You cannot play man-to-man against this bunch. I look forward to seeing how this plays out. I really think that the Independence Eagles will be in the state tournament this year.
Yeah, and the other thing you can't do, you can't turn the ball over, because if you do, we saw that on the second one. That's what they like. They force the turnover, and then they're off to the races.
Ravenwood sitting in second place right now, 10-5, 2-1. I really think Ravenwood is a good team. Elon Smallwood, regardless of the score of the Independence game, Ravenwood has second place. You have to beat them out. I'm going to tell you who's going to be knocking on the door. The team that's in third place right now, John Carter and Ty Carter right now. Summit 13-2, 2-1. Beat Brentwood first time in school history. Girls and boys both beat them 58-54. I'm going to tell you right now that score was close. Next time they play Brentwood, it will be double digits, if not worse. Summit is looking to roll. They have 1 blemish on the record right now that's going to really hurt them as a loss against Dixon. Maybe that won't come back to bite them as they go now. Centennial, right now 10-5. Coach Froden, what he's done, 2-1 in the district. Franklin 6-7 in 5th. Dixon sitting in 6th at 8-8. Brentwood right now still looking for the first district win under Coach Greg Shirley's time there. 4 losses by 4 points. Brentwood will get over the hump. Right now, Page in 12AA sitting in 3rd place, 1-1. And in 11AA, Fairview sitting in 9th, still looking for their first district win. Those wins come tough in that district right now. Creekwood boys are the perennial favorites right now to get into the state tournament game, if not have a chance to knock on the door of winning it. Now, let's go back to Independence real quick as we're closing up. 30 seconds. This is the team that he's been looking for. The difference between them and last year and this year, they didn't lose anybody. And last year, they were still undecisive whether or not they should win. Coach Glass right now and his kids are saying, we're the team to beat. Come get us.
They're going to be fun to watch. I think they make it to the Glass House and the Borough.
I hope so. I really think they do. And you know how hard it is to win on the AAA level. We'll see what happens if they get there. But I really think behind the Murphy boys, behind Malcolm Walker, Pierre, I mean, the list goes on. They're 7, 8, 9 deep. Last year, they were playing 6, 7 deep. They also have the kid that played football. The name escapes me right now. That was 6'6", looking real good in the post. Man, it's going to be awesome. But when they play the Battle of the Woods, that's going to be one to mark down. Thank you for joining us this week on WCS Sports Connection. We'll see you next time.
Wicked Technology by S.R. Lee. Wicked technology, tripping up wise, experienced, competent, skilled old folks.